EFL season's over. It's time for the greatest invention ever. Playoffs. Team from 3rd to 6th in the Championship League 1, League 2. They've got 3 games max to reach the division above. In the Championship, it's the most expensive game in the world of football. And we're going to look into it, every team in the competition from every division, and pick out some bets. We've got lots of bets for you, actually. But before we get into that, the football season has finished. So we're going to have a quick look back on it. What do you want to talk about, Matthew?
Well, I mentioned it just before off air about I think I normally do quite well on outrights, and I have done this year as well with some big winners. But I think the 3 teams I picked for the title has got to be in contention for the worst bet ever known to man. So I'll start off the highest place finish. I can't remember where Rotherham finished, about 14th. That was the highest of the 3. Had them to win League One, then MK Dons to win League Two, and they finished like 70th. To top it all off, I had Luton to win the Championship, and they got relegated. So 3 teams to win the title. It's been dead since like October, and it's just been in my betting history on Sky Bet. Every time I log on, it's just there staring at me. And so I'm so happy the season's gone. So the bet's finally in settled, and I can forget about it. But yeah, I think that's got to be the worst bet I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, I was on those exact 3 teams as well. I can't remember who else I put in, but I definitely on those 3, top 6 as well, and top 7 in League 2, win the league, Trixie. Yeah, those exact 3 teams. It must have been after our outright. And do you know the real killer as well? The only one that were going to salvage my outrights potentially was Hull to go down in
Yeah.
Luton. My tip for the league beat them to relegation. Classic, absolutely classic. But it hasn't all been terrible, has it?
No, done all right on a few big ones. Kone just about limped over the line, 150 to 1 each way. Was shitting it when Godden scored a brace on final day for Charlton to go level within 1. I was shitting it because Kone didn't score for the last like 7 weeks.
No.
So it's just been like, like when you've just got a dog that just can't walk and you're just like holding on to your last hope. And Kone was the last hope. And now Jatta at 50 to 1 came second. Eastbourne Borough 40 to 1. Missed out on the title by 1 point, came third. So yeah, I had some big ones, but big ones each way. Was very close to some big winners.
I'm just looking at that League One top goal scorer race. Kone was on 18, and I don't think he scored in his last 9 league appearances. So he's been on 18
And
for like 2 months,
I
and
was
he's
gutted.
finished.
I was gutted. I was thinking we're in for a record-breaking winner on the show, but couldn't quite get over the line.
Absolute killer. And I'm an idiot because my main thing last show was about the top goal scorer race in League One. Godden, Claude Dunn both finished on 18 as well, got braces on the last day. I tipped Smith, Stansfield, and Kelman. So the other 3 in the top 5. Classic. Classic, classic.
It's been a fun season though. It's been a bit of a slog, but I've really enjoyed it. Obviously, having some big bets on to sweat has helped. But there's also a bet I completely forgot about that me and Scott did start the season. We picked 6 winners in non-league, I think. 10p returned like over 200 grand. And the lowest any of them came was 4th, which was Chester, who just missed out on top 3. And luckily we didn't do it each way, because if we did it each way and one team let us down, it still would have been 1,000, like ridiculous money from 10p. So if we did it each way, I think I would have been sick about Chester missing out, because we had Worksop who came at a big price, who came second, but they weren't offering each way in that league. We had Forest Green, Eastbourne Borough, Horsham. So yeah, we had some very big odds winners, but luckily didn't do each way because that would have been brutal.
That would have been absolutely sickening. I know there's still some stuff coming up before the end of the season. Prem, we've got 3 games left. Some big competitions in Europe to be settled. Of course, we've got the playoff campaign that we're going to get onto in a minute, but we'll be back next season, won't we? At least in podcast form.
Yeah, we got some. Obviously, we're going to up the production, but up the sort of structure to it, because we are quite structured. We do it every Thursday, but we'll be more sort of active on Twitter with it. We'll hopefully maybe try to do newsletters or something. We've got potential plans for something exciting over the summer. So yeah, we're going to hopefully push on quite a bit next season.
Come on. Right, let's get into the playoffs. Outright strictly, we're going to come back to do the shows if we can. We'll definitely be back tomorrow for a preview because props are coming out. But this is strictly outright, so we're going to start off in the trickiest one of the lot, League 2. Now, what's been your approach to calling this?
Yeah, you say the trickiest one. It's been the trickiest one all season, but I think it was the easiest one to pick a winner from, which is weird how much it's flipped from. League Two was a league that I banned myself from betting on for a while because it was just couldn't get a read. It evened out a bit towards the end of the season, but yeah, it was impossible. But yeah, I've gone my nap of the playoffs basically. I've gone 2 points on Chesterfield to win it at 4.5. They were slightly higher, a bit of money's come in, but still the outsiders and still a great price. And I was obviously watching this week's podcast with you guys on it, and I can't remember who it was made a point about this is purely making a case against the other teams than purely all in on Chesterfield. You've got it's a 14 playoff where three of the fan bases are unhappy with the manager, and you just got Chesterfield who are just there. Walsall have won one game in 14, and that came last game of the season, and they nearly had it won, didn't they? Until those last minute Bradford scenes. For Walsall to have autos in their hands all season to lose it 96th minute, that's going to take some. It's going to destroy them. It's obviously different standard of football, but with Kidderminster, all they had to do last game of the season beat a Southport team who was shocking, nothing to play for, lost, and then rocked up in the playoffs and got beat at home. It's just the moral's going to be crushed, and I think the same's going to happen to Walsall, and yeah, I don't think they can recover from it. Notts County, really not keen on Maynard, the fans. I promise I don't have a Notts County agenda. Every week I always back against them. They're just always overpriced. I do think they're a really good team, but they've only had one win in six. Out of what I will say, out the teams in playoffs, I think they have the most individual quality with Jones and McGoldrick. We've also got Abbott and Jatta, who I rate really highly, but I'm just not sure on them as a whole. And then you've got Wimbledon, 2 wins from 9. Very tough team to break down and very, very low margin, which should suit the playoffs. They like to keep it tight and they can scrape through games. Again, I say that I don't think they have the individual quality the other teams have to win games, tight games. They may have to rely on extra time penalties to get through. And yeah, I just don't fancy their chances. And Chesterfield are the form team. They've got one loss in 13. They're riding the high of sneaking on the final day. They were the pre-season favourites, a sentiment me and you both massively disagreed on. I mean, we both agreed that they shouldn't have been the favourites. Yeah, so obviously it's not the be end and end all. Like the bookies don't always get it right, but it's something to go off that they were the pre-season favourites, and they just got experience throughout the team, which I think wins it for them. The signing of McFadden in January was a masterstroke. He's been brilliant. Midfield, you've got Naylor and Fleck. Up front, you've got Grigg, and you've got Cook, who's got promotion winning experience. Yeah, it's just a team with experience and quality throughout, and they have momentum other have, and I just think they're brilliant bet at 4.5. I don't think they should be outsiders considering they're playing Walsall in the semis, who I think who aren't very good. So yeah, Chesterfield I think will definitely make the final and win it, and I just can't pick a winner between County and Wimbledon. I just think you've got the individual quality County, the defensive structure of Wimbledon, just whatever gives first. But yeah, but my only bet for the League Two playoffs is Chesterfield to win it at 4.5, and that's 2 points.
2 point play. Wow. Yeah, exact same thinking that brought me to Chesterfield. Nothing really to add. I was just wondering, why are Wimbledon fans so fuming?
Well, I know a Wimbledon fan. I speak to him quite a bit. He says the football's just absolute dog. I know like League Two football in general is shit. It's just they go away from home. Obviously, the key to promotion or being a good side is win your home games, don't lose your away games. That's crucial. Jackson sort of sets up that way away from home, but there's been plenty of times where the game's been there to be won. He's just shown no ambition. I think it's just he hasn't. I think he was quite. He's been there a couple of seasons now, and he hasn't really realised his mistakes. That you don't have to defend every single away game, and I think they just get fed up of the sort of boring football.
First, no, but the Chesterfield one is insane because following quite closely, well, watch the highlights, listen to the official podcast, but it's good because it has all Paul Cook's interviews and a few of the players, so you can stay across them if you listen to that. And Paul Cook fucked off their season after
So
they
did you as well.
I only did it because he told me that it was over. He fucked off their season mid-February, day after Valentine's Day. They went 1-0 up at Walsall, lost 3-1. He said that's it, they're done. And it was weird because, oh yeah, they had gone in a bit of bad form running into that December. Well, way past that actually, till the beginning of March. They only won 2 games. And they went on to lose 3 games out on the spin after that Walsall game. But then, since then, they've only lost 1. And as you've already touched on, Matthew, I think that's absolutely crucial in this league too. Flip and slide playoff campaign. The only nagging doubt I have about the other teams is the star quality. You already said it. The star quality of Notts County, particular David McGoldrick, because every fucking week you just see him chopping in on his right foot from about 40 yards and then just put it in the top corner. He's so good. He's so good. I said when he left United, we could have got another 3 seasons out of him. He's way too good, and sometimes that can be the difference in these campaigns. But I can't call Notts County Wimbledon. I just can't call it, but I can call Chesterfield Walsall at the prices, and I'd like to be on Chesterfield at the prices for the whole thing. 7-2. What did you get them at when they first came out?
I think they were like 5-1 or 5. Yeah, they were either 5.5s or 6. Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, they were a brilliant price.
Bloody hell. Yeah.
So
So
price 4.5, still a really really good price considering you got Bristol City at similar-ish in the champs, and I think Chesterfield got way better chance than them.
yeah, and of course the margins as you go down the divisions are less and less. Like the gap between Sheffield, we'll get onto that in a minute, but yeah, there's definitely less margin in the in League Two between the sides, depending on where they finished in the league. So I won't read too much into Chesterfield finishing seventh. The only other thing I've got to add is I don't really think the bookies have any idea how to price this. Notts County and Wimbledon, same prices with some firms, different with others. Also, are between like 3-1, if 9-4. Then Chesterfield were the rank outsiders, and they've been smashed in. So I think the bookies are having a real difficult time pricing this. So if you've got a I don't know, something to follow like we have here, I think it's worth piling in because it's going to be carnage this playoffs in the fourth tier. But yeah, we both like Chesterfield. Matthews had 2 points on them at 7-2. Sorry, 365. I'm going to do something a bit different, but Chesterfield my strongest pick in League Two. League One then. This seems a lot trickier.
It's a coin flip. I just can't. I can't. So this is the only league I haven't put a winner for, like an outright winner, because I can't pick between Stockport and Charlton, and I think it's the only league we disagree on the winner. I think we got the same winner, League Two and Champ, but this is the one where we can't decide. But to start off, I'll have 1.5 points on a Stockport Charlton final, and that's on Sky Bet under the finalists. And I'll also have 2 points on Chesterfield to qualify, so to beat Wolves over 2 legs, and Charlton to beat Wickham over 2 legs at 3.51. Yeah, the Stockport Charlton finals slightly below the threshold we have for 2-1 or higher for the long shots, but make an exception for the playoffs. And in the Wickham Charlton game, we've been very anti Wickham since Dodds has come in, and I think we've sort of been proven right over time. Me and you are both saying it's not that impressive Wickham under Dodds, and it's all come to fruition recently. Their form has nosedived, as is the form of Kone. We've said it again before, something might have happened behind the scenes because he's been in and out the squad. He hasn't really been performing, so just something seems off there. I know a few Wickham fans, mates of a few as well, they're not happy with Dodds. It's not really the season. If you offered them 5th place before the season started, they would snap your hand off. But it's just the way it's come about. They've just sort of nosedived. They were in automatic promotion contention, just fell off, and I just don't see a lot to be optimistic about them for the playoffs. The end of the season, I don't know if this has ever happened before, but the other 3 teams in the playoffs were their last 3 games of the season. Lost 4-0 at home to Charlton, 1-0 at Orient, and 3-1 at home to Stockport. So they've been routinely 1-0 to Orient, but they've been beaten comfortably by all 3 teams around them, which is not ideal preparation. You've got Charlton, who've only lost twice at home all season. So if they keep it tight at Adams Park, you back them to get the job done at the Valley. Over the last 25 games, only Birmingham have taken more points than Charlton's 55, which is 18 more than Wickham in the same space of time. If you narrow it down to the last 15, Charlton have got 35 points, which is title winning form any other season other than the season with Birmingham in it. And Wickham in those last 15 only 21 points, so playing like a mid-table side. So I think Charlton get through comfortably. The bookies, again, I think I've got this wrong. I think Charlton are underdogs for this game, or they were. I think money's come in, so now they're slight favourites. But yeah, it's a weird one for me. And then Orient Stockport, I have Stockport to win the playoffs, as I mentioned, but not as a single play. I think a Stockport Charlton final could swing either way. So again, yeah, not putting out an official selection. As I mentioned, over the last 25 games, Stockport and Orient are tailing Charlton closely, only 4 and 5 points behind them. So both have been spectacular. Orient were relentless in the season, winning the last 6, and they are a team to be feared. However, Stockport also finished 9 points clear of them, and I just love Dave Challoner and his side, which is perhaps clouding my judgment, but I really want to get them on side. Their only loss since February came against Wrexham away, sorry. They've also won 7 of their last 8 with a 1-1 draw at Peterborough, the exception. If you just look at the team, it's just quality. You've got Norwood and Collar in midfield. Horsfield, Pine Hills in defence is one of the best in the league. And I think Pine Hills, I know Hills is on loan, but I think Pye and Hills will both be playing Premier League football over the next 2 years, especially Ethan Pye. I think he's unbelievable. Yeah, just a lot to like about the Stockport side. As I said, coin flip for the final between Cheltenham, but I'm edging slightly with Stockport, but not confident enough to tip them to win as a single. So I'm going Stockport Cheltenham final, 2.75, 1 point, and 2 points on Chesterfield and Cheltenham to make the final at 3.51.
Wallop. Yeah, same approach as League Two. Really, there's like one glaringly obvious team that come into this in stinky form, and you covered it perfectly. Then Mike Dodd's Wickham, 25 points, 17 games since he took charge, which is meh. We wouldn't even get him in the top 6 if the season was started when he took charge and ended when it ended. But you touched on it as well. The last 3 games were against playoff rivals, but since he took charge, they played 6 times against sides that finished in the top 7. And I include Reading in that because they were well clear of 8th place, and they lost by an aggregate score in 6 matches. 11-1. The most telling was that one against Charlton, and the consensus is Dodds reacts instead. He's not proactive, and in the way he set up was really defensive, and it just played into the bigger, better teams' hands. He's just not. He just shown 6 times since he's come in. 6 times in 16 games against teams around him that he's not equipped to deal with the best sides in the division. So strike them off straight away. And when we've been pretty confident that Charlton are going to be in the final, I just sort of thought, I fancy them to win it. I'm really struggling to call Leyton Orient, Stockport, 2 massively informed teams. Orient being absolutely flying down the back 9 or so in unbelievable form, but there's just a bit of doubt that maybe they're running too hot. Stockport, unbelievable depth, as you said. But the only nagging doubt for me with them, even though I love Challoner, is their record against the big boys. Top 5, it's 1-2, drawn 3, lost 3. And I just think, you said they're both going to be in the final. When I look at both of their squads, although Stockport have got a real impressive team, I just think pound for pound, Charlton have got more star quality, even though I rate Jones and Challoner exactly the same as managers. I think they're both brilliant. I just think it might come down to individual quality. Sometimes it does in playoffs, and I just think Charlton have got more. And you referenced it yourself, how good Charlton have been since it clicked for Jones. He had a lot of creases to iron out at Charlton, but once he got everyone on board, they have been top 2 form for a long time now. So I think it depends how you dissect the season up, how you look at this playoff campaign. But based on Jones's Charlton for the last 6-7 months or so, and the prices, I think Charlton are my favourite in League One. But I really do like the calling the final at Stockport Charlton, because gun to my head, those are the 2 that you'd like to think, especially with Stockport's recent form and their knack of coming from behind. I think they've come from behind in the last 3 games, so that team spirit could prove invaluable in a playoff campaign. But yeah, few bets for League One.
That Orient Stockport game is going to be mental then if Stockport come from behind, because Orient love doing that. It'd be like into Barca the other day, won't it? So I didn't even know that about Stockport. I didn't double check that, but that's going to be a very interesting dynamic against Orient then.
I think but I could have just made that up, but I think they've come from behind the last 3. I know they were losing against Wickham. I think they were 2-0 down the week before, and I think they were
Yeah.
1-0 down. Yeah, they were 1-0 down against Wickham. 1-3-1. 3 goals last 20 minutes. 2-0 down against Lincoln. 3 second half goals. 1-0 down against Huddersfield. 2 goals in the last 20 minutes or so.
Yeah,
They went 1-0 down against Peterborough as well. Last minute equaliser. They
that
went
game's going to
1-0
be
down
mental.
against Rotherham. Shit.
I know, it's going to be.
Stockport to win from behind.
I might back either team to win from behind then.
Yep. Yep, that's the bet. Right, we'll get into the championship now. Championship. So it finished Sheffield United in 3rd, Sunderland 4th, Bristol 5th, were it? Coventry 6th, Coventry 5th, Bristol 6th.
Yeah,
I was at the United game against Blackburn, and for a bit Blackburn were in 6th spot. I couldn't keep track of it, and I should have probably checked the league table before I reeled it off. But yeah, the thing is with this one, the championship, the gap between you've got the Premier League and the Championship, the gap's bigger than ever, and you've also got this cluster of like 6, 7, 8 teams who haven't spunked all their parachute payment and they use it wisely, and now the gap between the Championship and the rest is getting bigger. So with that in mind, is this a relatively easy one?
Well, you know full well how tough the players can be with a Sheffield United fan. I know Brighton fan, we lost in the playoffs 3 times as well before we went up automatically. And this reminds me of when we had Chef Wednesday. We missed out. I don't know if you remember last game of the season at Borough. A winner takes all went up. Borough drew, so went up ahead of us. And then we were like, I don't know the exact total, but we were like 18, 20 points clear of Chef Wednesday, I think. And we went to Chef Wednesday away, came out with like 3 injuries in half an hour in the first half and capitulated, and the game was sort of lost. And I think Sheffield United quality though over Bristol City, they should have far too much to beat. Sheffield United 90 points but missed out on promotion. That's 22 ahead of Bristol City, so they should have far too much quality. Bristol City are very poor against top sides. I saw them against Leeds, and they were, I know it's Leeds, but they were absolutely diabolical. Bristol City, they couldn't even. They had 2 shots, I think, that both came from long range. One's from Twine, like late. Like 88th minute or something off the bench. They could hardly get a touch of the ball. Leeds just suffocated them. And I think if Bristol City go into the second leg with a 2-0 lead or even a 3-0 lead, I can't see them touching Sheffield United. So I think it's easy for Sheffield United in the final. And Wilder's been preparing for the players for a few weeks now. So his team will be well prepared, whereas Bristol City was up in the air, so they wouldn't know. And so I just think that one's not a given because nothing a given, but I just can't see past Sheffield United. And the other tie, again, the other tie is so similar to the County Wimbledon for me. I just can't pick a winner. I can make justify it for each. I really, really, really like that Sunderland team. Pound for pound, it's I'd say the best team in the playoff. Pound for pound, Sunderland starting lineup. But yeah, I think so. Yeah, if you look at players like Lafay, Bellingham, Rigg, Roberts, stuff like that, I just think it's a team packed with quality, and but they've just been awful. Labrie took his foot off the gas once autos were out of the question, and then they tried to pick it up against Oxford and QPR, put a strong team out. But once a team's out of form, doesn't matter what the players are, the sort of whole feel around the club feels weird. They went full strength against Oxford, well, nearly full strength, lost 2-0. Nearly full strength against QPR, lost 1-0. And both teams aren't the best. I don't see where they pick themselves up and find the momentum from. They've lost 5 from 6, only scored 1 in the last 6, and but how deflated is their confidence is a question. If it's fully prepared Sunderland and fully confident Sunderland, I'd back them to beat Coventry. But you just don't know how they're going to react. And you've got Cov side I really like and had them earmarked for auto start the season alongside Luton. But they've just been good under Lampard. But I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. They rely on a lot of moments of quality or last minute goals or stuff like that. So with them, I can see it'll either swing one way or the other for them, if that makes sense. Like, I just think I've never only watched them a couple of times. I've been like, wow, you're brilliant. Other times it's just been a close game that they've just edged. Again, that's good for the playoffs, but I can't make my mind up on Cov there. It's just, I can't decide that games. I think Cov edge it against Sunderland over 2 legs, but again, it'll be a brave man's call that. So my only bet for the champ is 1.5 points on Sheffield United to win the playoffs at 2.75, and then I've had half a point on the promotion table of Sheffield United, Stockport, and Chesterfield at 35-1.
Oof. Yeah, yeah. You covered everything. It's the Sunderland thing. I disagree. Pound for pound, they got the best squad. I think
It's
maybe
tight.
starting 11.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Starting 11 wise, it's tight. You can make the argument either way, but I think you've got better all round and experience.
Yeah, it's just what you said about Reggie Labrie. What was he doing?
I know.
Southampton, Russell Martin did the same thing last season, but it worked for him, and he even threw in banana skins because he were playing Leeds and that in the running at the end of the season, and that ultimately proved the fine margins that took him up at Wembley. But it hasn't really worked out the same way for Reggie Labrie, and he's really gone for the last 2 games. Was it Oxford away, Oxford at home? Sorry.
Oxford away lost.
Um, Yeah, lost 2-0, and then who's been the other two, and then lost at QPR final day. That was when he went almost full strength final day. He went really full strong at Oxford, and they've lost both games. So trying to pick himself up off the canvas is going to be no mean feat. Same as you with Coventry. Not anti-post. Didn't have any strong opinions on them, but the form under Frank Lampard, he referenced it all the time. We are playoff automatic form. And they were for a large spell. Only United, Burnley, and Leeds had taken more points across them. I think it was his first 18 games or something, but they looked like they peaked too early because snuck into playoffs with a bit of a whimper. So trying to call that one is really impossible, and I don't want to try. I know we've got to try and make predictions, but I don't want to go near that one. I'd rather just watch the game and see what Sunderland we're going to get, to be honest, because I think it all goes from there. Because it's easy to forget with the quality of the top two in the Championship, both finishing on 100 points. Sheffield United have been, I think, like first or second team ever not to go up with 90 points after Leeds the other season. One of
Yeah.
the highest points tallies not to go up. Sunderland have still been phenomenal this campaign. And they was in the ascendancy for a lot of it. I'm just trying to see what points they finished
With
on.
with Sheffield United, like on 90 points, normally if you finish that high points, it's normally like a late like final 2 days or something, final two games you miss out. Because I think you've known for like 4 or 5 games or something in it that you're not going to go up. So it's not like the confidence will be that battered as opposed. It's not like you missed out on the last day, if you know what I mean. If you missed out on the last day with 90 points, I would back against you. But you've had a few games to prepare, and I think Wilder's good at picking his team up. I think I, I think he rotated at home to Blackburn a bit. I didn't really take notice, but yeah, I just think you have way too much for Bristol City running out of steam, and they Bristol City so nearly bucked it, didn't they, at home to Preston? I just don't think they have the bottle for it, and yeah, and I think a few Bristol City fans are quite pessimistic.
Yeah, that performance against Leeds was pretty damning. I remember the commentator making a point of it being their first shot, and that was deep into the second half. Tom Condell thinks that they're going to need a couple of goals if they're going to stand any chance on Thursday with going to Bramall Lane. And as you say, Wilder, it was after the Easter Monday at Turf Moor, the defeat confined them to the playoffs. Couldn't finish any higher than third, couldn't finish any lower. And that were with 2 games to spare. Against Blackburn, Davies played in net, so Cooper got a rest. Holding came in at the back. In fact, 3 of the back 4 was rotated. Vinny Souza and Peck played. Hamer played, but the rest was sort of fringe players trying to make a case to start. So it was far from full strength, which is crucial. And Chris Wilder did have that campaign at Oxford to get them out of the National League via the playoffs, so he's got experience. Usually in the Football League, he likes to go up as champion or in the automatic spots, but he has got playoff experience. And I was trying to say this yesterday on the show. Like he's like an achievement driven manager. I can't think of the right way to put it. Like this season, all he wanted was 90 points. He wanted to beat the total Heckingbottom went up. Now he's had time to get his head around what's the task at hand, playoffs. He'll have set out his achievements he wants to achieve. I can't think of the word, but he'll have driven them into his side, and he'll have a plan for Thursday, and he'll have a plan for Monday to get us to Wembley. And then we'll see. The only nagging bit of doubt I have is this will be United's 11th campaign in the playoffs. I don't know if one of them was a relegation campaign from years and years ago, but I've been to watch us lose at Wembley twice. We've lost at the final 4 times. The playoffs has just never seemed to go in our favour, but that's more pessimism in the stands. That doesn't bleed onto the pitch. It won't be in the players' mind. It might be in Wilder's mind, but he'll certainly not transmit it to the players. So I think reluctantly as a fan, I think Sheffield United are the bet in the Championship. So what I've done for the playoffs is, although I do really like the price of Chesterfield and Charlton, and reluctantly I think Sheffield United are going to go up because they're such a lottery. I didn't want to be chucking points on each division. I think I'm just going to settle for a Trixie that you can get it at like just over 40.5, and that's United, Charlton, and Chesterfield. So I'm pretty confident they'll all be in the final. So it'll be that bank holiday weekend in a couple of weeks' time, something to cheer on. Or
I
is
was,
it next week?
I was going to say, gun to your head then, if you had to pick the finalists for all three playoffs, who you going for?
Oh, Coventry, Sheffield United. I think the two things with Sunderland is he's fucked them. They're out of form. They couldn't get the form back before the end of the season, which I expected them to do. And you can't forget they are so young.
Yeah,
So young. It's probably why they fell away in the title race. Aside from the quality of the other three, like they are really, really young. League One, I'd have to go, even though I'd hate it being on Charlton, I'd have to go Charlton v Stockport. I just think there's something about Richie Wellens. I heard I think he was on the Not Top 20, did an extended interview. Although he was assured of himself, he came across as really emotional, and I'm just not sure in the pressure cooker of the playoffs that's going to work. And I'm only making that judgment from a 40-minute interview, but ultimately I think Stockport and Charlton have been too good over the course of the season for Orient. And then League Two, I'll go Notts County in the final against Chelsea because of David McGoldrick, but again, based on very little. So finally, Sheffield United, Coventry, Charlton, Stockport, Chelsea, Notts County. Who do you reckon finalists?
same six as me. Yeah,
Really?
League One was easy for me. Not easy, but the easiest. Chesterfield and Sheffield United for me, and then Wimbledon and County in League Two is a coin flip. But I think County's star quality of McGoldrick and Jones gets them over the line, and then Championship of Sunderland coin flip again. But I think Cov, because of Sunderland's bad form, I think Cov edge it. So yeah, we got the exact same 6 finalists. So that means I'm gonna on Sky Bet. I'm definitely gonna play the name the finalist as a treble. I think.
I'm gonna have a look now, see what it is. While I do that, just recap as your bets for us.
Yeah, it's League Two. I've gone Chesterfield to win the playoffs at 4.5, 2 points on that. League One, I've got Stockport Charlton final, 1.5 points on that at 2.75 with Sky. We've also had 2 points on Chesterfield to beat Walsall over 2 legs and Charlton to beat Wickham over 2 legs. The double at 3.51. I've had 1.5 points on Sheffield United to win the playoffs at 2.75. Then I've had half a point on Sheffield United, Stockport, and Chesterfield at 35-1 all to go up.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, I've done a bit of a different approach. It doesn't make too much sense, but in my head it does. We have called most of the divisions. I'm going Sheffield United to win the Championship playoffs. That's form and prices. Charlton to win League One playoffs and Chesterfield to win League Two playoffs. And I'm playing them as a Trixie, a point in total, 40.5 with Sky Bet, and we've also I didn't realise we was on the exact same 6 teams to reach all the finals. That's Coventry United in the Championship, Alton Stockport in League One, and Chesterfield Notts County in League Two. So if you want to try and nail you close to the mast and join us in predicting all the 6 finalists, you can get that at 28.5-1 with Sky Bet on their outright special name the finalists, but way too specific for me. It makes me feel a bit sick just thinking about that. But yeah, we have gone to town on the players called winners or finalists for all 3 divisions, and we'll be back tomorrow actually, won't we?
Yeah, can't get enough.
Can't get enough. Yeah, we'll probably have a look at the Prem if the markets are available. The markets are starting to drip out for the playoffs, so we'll try and get some single bets for the first legs for the first round of playoffs and the game week 36 of the Premier League. So we'll be back tomorrow. Catch you on the Flip to Flip.